What's up, guys? It's Tony with Truth About Boxing, and today we're going to be talking about Mayweather's next opponent and his future opponents and potential opponents that he could be fighting in May and September. First, I just want to talk about Amir Khan. Now, there is no way that Mayweather should be fighting Amir Khan. Now, Mayweather just beat Canelo, a proven 154-pounder, beating some good guys. You know, he was young, he was a really fresh and skilled fighter. There's no reason for Mayweather to be fighting Khan. I mean, his last battle against Diaz was horrendous, and even under his new trainer, Virgil Hunter, you know, Khan has still showed that his chin is shaky, and he doesn't have the defense to take Mayweather's clean shots. So that fight would end early, and I'm almost positive it would end in a knockout or a TKO. Now, one thing that Khan does bring to the table, and it's the only thing that he brings to the table, is the fact that he's a huge draw, and he's a massive draw in the UK, and we all know that Mayweather has wanted to fight in the UK for a long time now, so that gives him that opportunity. And, you know, that might be enough to land him the Mayweather fight, as sad as it sounds. Now, it's been posted on BoxRec that the bout is happening, but I wouldn't trust BoxRec too much because they listed that fight before in the past, and it has never happened. So I wouldn't worry too much about that. I think that Mayweather would knock him out. That's about it. I think it's a pointless fight because it's just easy for Mayweather. It's good for money, that's about it. Well, I think Mayweather can fight, that it would be a good fight and a very viable option. I got three guys in mind. I got Danny Garcia, Sexy Sergio Martinez, and Erislandy Lara. Now, Danny Garcia would have to move up a division. I mean, he's 140-pound champ, undisputed. You know, he just won his last bout over Lucas Matisse in a great fight, barn burner, complete slugfest. It was amazing. If you guys haven't seen it, I would definitely try to check it out. It might be on YouTube. He looked really good in that fight, and he showed a lot of versatility in that fight, and he showed me enough to think that he could definitely make a decent fight with Mayweather. I mean, I think it would be a huge fight building up with Angel Garcia and his mouth, and Floyd and his dad and his uncle Roger and their mouths. It would make for a huge fight. There'd be so much hype around this fight. You know, Danny's bringing belts, Floyd's bringing belts. You know, it's a spectacle. That it would be an event. So I think that's, you know, it'd be really good for boxing if those two champions fought each other. I don't think Danny has a huge chance in that fight, but I would say, you know, he's got about a 20% chance because he's got the skills to make it interesting. He's got some good boxing skills, some really good power, and deceptively good speed. Now, I think that his speed and his power could pose some problems for Mayweather because Danny isn't going anywhere. Danny showed that he's got a ridiculous chin against Matisse. Took some flush shots, and he was good. He carried him out to the last round and didn't seem phased at all at the end. So there's no way that Mayweather's getting him out of there. So it would be a huge, huge threat for Mayweather having Danny throwing his bombs against him. Now, whether he'll land them or not, I don't know if he will. But there's always a chance because Swift is a lot faster. You know, his nickname's Swift. He's a lot faster than he looks on TV. So, you know, he could catch Mayweather with some shots. He also has a deceptively good jab. He has a very solid jab, and I think that, you know, it's been proven that Mayweather has had some problems with the jab, so he can definitely use that to make it an interesting fight. The next guy that I was thinking of for Mayweather would probably be in September would be Sergio Martinez, Sexy Sergio. Now, Sergio didn't look that great in his last outing against Martin Murray, but it seemed like, you know, Sergio was the smaller man being outmuscled by the bigger and more powerful Murray, and that was the story of that fight. And Sergio's known for his great movement and athleticism, but as you guys might not know, Sergio, before that Murray fight, had a really bad knee injury, and he actually had to get surgery on it. So he was not at 100% for that fight. And it seemed like he almost got old overnight, because his movement was not like the Sergio of 2 years ago. He didn't look as coordinated. His power didn't seem there. So I think what would be best for Sergio would be maybe to move back down to 154 pounds, since there's a lot of interesting fights for him there. And he's always showed interest in fighting Mayweather, and he said that he would even cut down to 150 pounds to fight Mayweather, which may have to happen for that fight to be made, but I'm not sure, since Sergio is not necessarily a very large man. So, that fight is definitely on the table, and I think Sergio should consider moving back down to 154 pounds and searching for that Mayweather fight. I think that we would see a much better Sergio, a much more mobile Sergio at 154 pounds, and a guy that can really, truly test Mayweather. Because Sergio, the one thing that Sergio has that not a lot of Floyd's previous opponents have had in the past few years is that unbelievable natural talent. I mean, Sergio, the guy just knows how to move his feet. I mean, it's unbelievable. His movement would be able to match Mayweather. He'd be able to find him. Sergio's got some really blazing hand speed when he wants to, and he can throw really solid punches while he's moving, and his style is really unorthodox, so it'd be something that Mayweather hasn't seen in quite a while. And the only other guy that I think could really pose that kind of weird, awkward, unorthodox threat to Mayweather would be Manny Pacquiao. And I think Manny would give him a lot of trouble, but I don't see that fight happening because Manny is under Top Rank contract, so that fight's not going to happen. I really doubt it. The next guy, and the last guy that I think that Mayweather should consider fighting in next September, is Erislandy Lara. Now, a lot of you may not have heard of Erislandy Lara because he's not that big of a fighter yet, even though he's been around for quite a while. He's had a few really good fights. His last fight against Alfredo Angulo, which was a great fight. He showed that he has great recovery ability. He can take a shot against a hard puncher like Angulo, and he showed that he's got some really great power himself in stopping Angulo and making his face look like fucking, I don't know, looked like a troll, looked like he got bit by a fucking spider. That shit was like, looked like he got hit by a car or something. Lara is a great example of a really, really solid technical boxer, and I think that Mayweather has been fighting a lot of really, really strong, hard-punching brawlers, and the guys that have not been as technical as Lara. So I think it would be a really interesting change of pace for Mayweather to fight a more technical guy like Lara. Now, Lara himself has said that he doesn't feel that he's earned a Mayweather fight quite yet, but Mayweather most likely will be defending his 147-pound title in May. So that gives Lara time to have a couple of big fights at 154, maybe fight Canelo, Trout, that fight was almost made, fight a couple of good guys at 154 pounds, and build his name in time for September for that big Mayweather fight. And I would love to see that fight happening. I think that fight would be really interesting because Lara would force Mayweather to come at him at times and really open up, because Lara is very technical and he's bigger than Mayweather, so he would give him a lot of trouble. And we would really see what Mayweather can do against a guy that is somewhat close to him in technical skill, but also has a size advantage. That's going to be it for my future Mayweather opponents. This has been the truth about boxing. See you next time.